येन Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jata Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitascha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namaha Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai. So, we finished the chapter number 6, which was titled Following a Vrajavasi in One Siddha Deha. All right. Even after Siddha Deha, we have been described to follow a Vrajavasi in one's sadhaka rupa. So even though we are on path of progression towards acquiring Siddha Deha, but our practice should follow a Vrajavasi in one's sadhaka rupa. Sadhana has to be continued. There is no doubt about it. There is no relaxation on what say Srila Prabhupada gave us the principle to chant 16 rounds and follow 4 regulative principles and engage in a favorable service to Lord Shri Krishna in whichever capacity we can render, either a full-time, part-time, in a householder way, or staying in the temple. So that is the sadhana is continued, but that sadhaka rupa is a humble position than sadhya rupa. Sadhaka and sadhya is the position that can be achieved. When we see the example of on the highest category of devotional service and the life of Vasudeva and Devaki, in the first millennium, they were Vrishni and Sutapa, and the Supreme Lord appeared as Vrishni Garbha, but he was not a baby form. He came for a particular reason. We do not see what was much interaction between the parents and the child. So their sadhana has to be continued. And in the second millennium, this is millennium. Second millennium, they were Kashyap and Aditi. Of course, Vaman Rupa came is much more younger age. He was almost in Pauganda Avastha. That was the situation. And Vamandev simply instructed to take him to Bali Maharaj's fire sacrifice. And Kashyap and Aditi were, even though one of the chief Prajapatis, and they desired, because they were Vrishni and Sutapa, and the same situation happened there also. They could not have much interaction with their child. They were the order carriers. We do not see any kind of reciprocation of that. So the sadhak rupa has been continued for Vasudeva and Devaki. So in the third one, again, intense desire, again in the intense desire of having Lord Krishna as a baby form and original and Vrindavan, that Mother Yashoda and they, were desiring, and their desires were fulfilled. But Devaki and Vasudeva, they have to endure all the situations. It is said that the framework of mind of Vasudeva was so much pure now that he reached the stage of Vishuddha Sattva, and then original form of the Lord appeared in his heart and was agreeable to become their child. And fine, but there has to be a lot of things to be accomplished. So Krishna devised that, yes, I will fulfill the desire of their, 3 millennium long desire of fulfilling, becoming a child. Okay. But again, there was some cheating. Krishna has so many other multivarious tasks to do. So how to do? Okay, you got me as a child, but you cannot enjoy my childhood pastimes. So even though Vasudeva reached to the state of what we call the Vishuddha Sattva stage, where Lord Krishna is existing, Krishna appeared first in his heart, and Vasudeva then initiated Devaki and transferred the same form of the Lord in her heart. And we know that in Srimad Bhagavatam, this was the miracle that is to be understood. The demigods misunderstood. And demigods were thinking, oh, Devaki is becoming so brilliant, and she never had this type of effulgence before. The Lord is now ready to arrive, so he must have, entered in her womb. Demigods also have a material embodiment, but superior, and their constitutions that keep them living for hundreds of thousands of years, because they are the functionary. As long as the material world has to be maintained, the functionary aspect of maintenance is by the 32 kotis, means types of demigods, and they are well explained. So in their mood, that Krishna has to enact the past times where Vasudeva and Devaki were not able to even witness. That longing came after they were in Dwarka, that we read in Brihad Bhagavatamritam. Devaki was having this particular deficiency in her heart, that she says, and Krishna was married even at that time, and Rukmini was listening the conversation between Devaki and Krishna in Dwarka, and that is behind the door. So Devaki is expressing that, I know perfectly now that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I am your mother, but I'm in that mood that you have been fulfilling now in Dwarka, but I have been bereft of witnessing your pastimes of childhood. So you are absolute truth, personality, and capable to do anything and everything. Can you fulfill my desire? So intensity of the desire that she has to reach up to that particular point. And that also not in Vrindavan. So Krishna was obliged. He said, yes, mother, you were the one who brought me to perform this, and you were unable to witness because of your situation, and that is your sadhana, that both of you perceived so much tribulations in the jail. And the jail is confinement, and you witnessed even 6 of your children been killed by Kamsa. Yes, this is good enough for me. So I will fulfill your desires. So Krishna ordered Balaram, hey Balaram, mother wants to see our childhood pastimes. Let's fulfill her desire, the only cherishable desire. All others were fortunate to witness, but at the same time they were able to participate. And the varieties of participants are coming from so many different places. There were Vasus, they were the demigods were anxious. Even Lord Mahavishnu wanted to witness the pastime, and he had to become Govardhan. Remember, all those situations were created in order to fulfill the desires of his pure devotees who wanted to come and enter in the life of Krishna and want to interact. So Devaki and Vasudeva has also special mention, but they have to suffer. So naturally Krishna was obliged, yes, mother, you are bereft of it. Okay, we can fulfill your desire. So Krishna ordered Balaram to manifest New Vrindavan in the shore of the sea in Dwarka. Created. Balaram is the creative potency, Sandhini potency. Is the absolute truth. So he created New Vrindavan. And oh my God, Sanatana Goswami takes us to that trip to enter into New Vrindavan. So you can understand now, following a Brajavasi in one's sadhaka rupa, you may ask, how is it that which Brajavasi Vasudeva and Devaki followed? Yes, even though Vasudeva and Devaki, they were in imprisonment, but later on, Nanda Maharaj, Upananda, and others, elderly, faithful to Krishna, they wanted to give the annual taxation to Kamsa, and they would go just to in the pretext of paying the taxes, they will meet with Vasudeva and Devaki. My God. So the desire to follow a Brajavasi in one's sadhaka rupa, Vasudeva has to continue. They were following, obviously, Nanda and Yashoda. But Mother Devaki's desires were not fulfilled because she never met Yashoda. Only Vasudeva would be coming to Nanda Maharaj and Devaki. So the mother part was particularly remaining vacant in her heart, and therefore, without even indulgence of Vasudeva, who transferred the Lord in the heart of Devaki. This is immaculate conception. And Janma karma cha me divyam. Janma is divyam. And we have to evam vettiyo tattvataha, understanding through the tutelage of our spiritual master and a hierarchy that they have already established. So this is our continual service, that following Vrajavasi in one's sadhaka rupa. So in the previous chapter, we examined how devotees follow a Vrajavasi in their Siddha Rupa, which is either their mentally conceived body as a Vrajavasi or their actual Swarupa. In this chapter, we will examine how devotees follow a Vrajavasi in their Sadhaka Rupa. In his incarnation to the Seva Sadhaka Rupena versa, Srila Prabhupada emphasized two kinds of services to be carried out by practitioner. Thus, he should perform devotional service both externally and internally. Jiva Goswami calls Sadhak Rupa the physical body of the practitioner. You see, Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, 22nd chapter, 158th verse, describes what Srila Prabhupada is telling, that sadhak means he should perform devotional service both externally and internally, and Jiva Goswami is calling the physical body of the practitioner. And that has been also in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, first chapter, second verse, first canto, second chapter, 295th verse. The aggregate meaning, it's clear. Aggregate means combining everything. It's clear. While a devotee absorbed his mind in following a Vrajavasi, he should simultaneously engage his senses in the activities of devotional service. Srila Prabhupada details the specific nature of service in Sadhaka Rupa. His divine grace emphasizes that this services should be according to the principles of regulated devotion. He should execute service externally as a regulative devotee. He should continue his external mood that up till now we have been witnessing. From the statement of these acharyas, it is clear that in the practice of Raganuga Bhakti, a devotee's visible conduct conforms to that of the Vaidhi Bhakta. Spontaneity relates only to the inner mental disposition and not otherwise. Sometimes we become over-enthusiastic to depend, but that means we have inner state existing. If not, then it's only an external show of the mental activity. Sometimes we become over-enthusiastic and perform with all our physical strength, but we may be contemplating on some other matter, not according to the service of spontaneity. So a temporary spontaneity does not mean that it is an internal bhajan. From the statements of the Acharya, it is clear that in the practice of Raganuga Bhakti, a devotee's visible conduct conforms to that of Vaidhi Bhakta. Spontaneity relates to only to inner mental disposition and not otherwise. As already described in Raganuga Bhakti, is the religion of the mind. Mind should be totally absorbed, not sporadically. Man changa to katharot mein Ganga. Changa means if mind is absorbed in the thoughts of Ganges and he wants to take bath in it. But he says, oh, the little water in our pan container is as good as Ganga. That is not good. It is a Mayavadi philosophy. Ganga, with all the characteristics, should also appear in mind that purifies our mental existence and so forth. Raganuga Bhakti is the religion of mind. Mind should be totally absorbed in. How then one engages the senses or sadhaka rupa in Krishna's service? The answer is that in the same way as one engages the mind by following the activities of particular associates of Krishna, Rupa Goswami instruction to follow in the associates of Krishna in Braja applies equally to the sadhaka rupa as to siddha rupa. The difference is that follow in the mood of some Brijavasis, but execute externally the devotional service like him. But how does one follow and associate Krishna in Braja without being an imitator who, or worse, a sahajiya? They also do. By following the sadhaka rupa of that Vraja associate is very important. Krishna's own sadhaka rupa is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when associates of Krishna appears along with Lord Chaitanya, they do so in their sadhaka rupa. Those who are eternal associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have to follow their sadhana externally, All right. For example, Lalita Devi is Swarup Damodar Goswami. Subal is Gauridas Pandit. And Uddhava is Paramananda Puri. This is in Gaur Gunodesha Dipika. Thus, following in the footsteps of Krishna's associates in one sadhak rupa means to act in accordance with the practice and activities of the sadhak rupa of one's Brajavasi role model. Role model. We understand role model. Who do you follow? Who is your best? Who is your, even in your mind, the role model? Prema nama pracharite yai avatar. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, this incarnation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu descends to propagate the chanting of the holy name and spread love of God. This is given in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, 4th chapter, 5th verse. Even Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, describing the members of Panchatattva, he calls Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Bhakta Rupa, or the Lord, or in the form of a devotee, which is synonymous with the Lord in the form of a practitioner, Sadhaka Rupa, Bhakta Rupa. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakhyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. So this is the Sadhaka Rupa of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is a Bhakta Rupa. Right? The activities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enacts with his transcendental body and senses continue the mission of establishing the religion of this age. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu demonstrated the sadhaka rupa following Brijavasi. Krishna is Brijavasi. His himself is Krishna. Radha Krishna nahi anya. And he shows separately even the sentiments, but unitedly he showed the form of Radha Krishna to Ramananda Rai. So, now, the activities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu annexed with his transcendental body and senses constitute the mission of establishing the religion of this age. But there is more. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami goes on to say that in addition to this external reason, there is confidential reason for the Lord's appearance. Satya यही हेतु किंतु एहो बहिरंग आर एक हेतु सुन आचे अंतरंग. Although this is true, this is but the external reason for the Lord's incarnation. Please hear one other reason, the confidential reason for the Lord's appearance. This is also given in Chaitanya Charitamritam, Adi Leela, 4th chapter, 6th verse. The confidential reason to accept the ecstatic love, bhava grahena nera of Srimati Radharani. This is also explained in Chaitanya Charitamritam, Adi Leela, 4th chapter, 53rd verse. Antaranga reason. The confidential reason is to accept the ecstatic love, bhava grahanera of Srimati Radharani. Why and how this takes place is elaborately explained in the 4th chapter of Adi Leela of Chaitanya Charitamritam, but is summarized in the following verse penned by Swarup Damodar Goswami. Sri Radharaya Pranaya Mahima Kidrasho Vanayavai Swadyo Yana Bhuta Madhurima Kidrasho Va Madai Saukhyam Chasya Mad Anubhavataha Kidrasham Veti Lobhat Tad Bhavat Briha Samajani Sachi Garbha Sindhu Harindu. During our desiring to understand the glory of Radharani's love, the wonderful qualities in him that she alone relishes through her love, and the happiness she feels when she realizes the sweetness of his love, the Supreme Lord Hari, richly endowed with her emotions, appeared from the womb of Srimati Sachidevi as moon appeared from the ocean. This quotation is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, 1st chapter, 6th verse. The internal reasons were also given right in the beginning by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. But that is penned through Swarup Damodar in an explanation. Again, Sri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kidrasho Vanayaiva Swadyo Yena Bhuta Madhurima Kidrasho Va Madaya Saukhyam Chasya Mad Anubhavataha Kidrasham Veti Lobhat Tad Bhavadya Samajani Sachigarbha Sindhu Harinduhu. Desiring to understand the glory of Radharani's love, the wonderful qualities in him that she alone relishes through her love, and the happiness she feels when she relishes sweetness of his love, the Supreme Lord Hari, richly endowed with her emotions, appeared from the womb of Srimati Sachidevi as the moon appeared from the ocean. We used to study in the beginning of starting Chaitanya Charitamrita and the internal, what are the 3 internal reasons? And we would quote this. These are the 3 internal reasons. Okay. What is the first reason? Desiring to understand the glory of Radharani's love. And Second thing, the wonderful qualities in him that she alone relishes through her love. And the happiness she feels, she relishes the sweetness of his love. These are the three reasons, internal reasons. Now we can understand through the sadhaka form as well as the internal meditation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Externally, he would do Sankirtan Leela to propagate the holy name. But internally in Gabira, and especially towards Antya Leela, he was completely absorbed in experiencing these three reasons of his appearance. Reading the biography of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when we learn that while the Lord relished both his ambitions, he did so by keeping activities of sadhaka rupa in forefront, which is to say visible to everyone, and the activities of his siddha rupa confidential. Can we understand? Two portions. Sadhaka rupa has to be exhibited, while the siddha rupa should be remaining confidential and only to those who are his intimate. And generally, in the evening, he would have assembly in Gabira with all his devotees. But then when the night approaches and under the pretext that the Lord requires rest now, Swarup Damodar and Ramanand Rai will be the only two left behind. And when they go, only Govinda, his servant, would be there. And while even Govinda would be fast asleep, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would walk out in the dead of night in the high ecstasy and rush towards the sea. So he would be, picked up by Govinda when he feels that, oh, where is the Lord? So he will bring him. Then we see the Lord was becoming unconscious. Then he disappeared. So these are the levels of internal ecstasy and in the Antya Leela, such things can be perceived. So here, for our understanding, the sadhaka rupa is the primary functions that has to be continued, but then development of the sadhya rupa, internal, that should be very confidential. Indeed, Lord Chaitanya consciously cultivated inner meditation only during the night in his private chambers, and he did only in the company of two confidants, Ramananda Rai and Swarup Damodar. The lesson to be learned is that Raganuga Bhaktas make only activities of sadhaka rupa visible to others, thereby conducting himself as a regulated devotee. Meanwhile, they carefully keeps the activity of siddha rupa confidential. An example of this kind of spiritual chastity was communicated in a letter by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Rupa and Sanatana. Beautiful explanation. Paravyasani nari vyagrapi graha karmeshu tad evasvadyati antara navasanga rasayanam. If a woman is attached to a man other than her husband, she will appear very busy in carrying out her household affairs, but within her heart she is always relishing the feeling of association with her paramour. This is said also in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, first chapter, first canto, Madhya Leela, first chapter, 211th verse. If a woman is attached to a man other than her husband, she will appear very busy in carrying out her household affairs, but within her heart she is always relishing the feelings of association with her paramour. Paravyasani nari vairagya api graha karmeshu. Sorry, not vairagya. Vyagrapi graha karmeshu tad eva swadhyati antara navasanga rasayanam. This example brings to the mind the question of whether, like the housewife who thinks of her paramour while doing chores, a devotee is meant to think Krishna while undertaking services in his sadhaka rupa. Understand the question. Whether, like the housewife who thinks of her paramour while doing the chores, a devotee is meant to think Krishna while undertaking services in his sadhaka rupa. The answer is both yes and no. If we accept that things related to Krishna are non-different from him, then absorption in such thoughts of his service is tantamount to think of him, and that is yes. Understand this. If we accept the things related to Krishna are non-different from him, then absorption in those thoughts of his service tantamount to be thinking of him, that is yes. Means this is sadhaka rupa. But if we can do the service perfectly while giving thoughts to Krishna's pastimes in the way that an experienced cook can prepare a meal while holding a conversation, that is also a yes. Can you make distinction? Again, if we see, if we are absorbed in thoughts of the service which is related to Krishna and they are non-different from him, then it is sadhaka rupa. Then if we can do the service perfectly while giving thoughts to Krishna's pastimes in the way that is experienced, cook can prepare a meal while holding a conversation, that is also yes. You can imagine that we have that kind of habit. We cook expertly. We cook expertly while we are talking to. So even though some distraction is there, but yet we perform expert. Right. So that is also yes. In this regard, Krishna says, Mam anusmara yuddhesha. Thinking of me, you fight. Thinking, I mean, we do any devotional service, thinking or keeping Krishna in center. Always think of him. Manmana bhava. Always think of him. Right? Ma manusmara yuddhacha. Therefore, Arjun, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna and at the same time continue your prescribed duty in fighting. With your activity dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. An example of this is in Bhagavad Gita, of course, 8th chapter, 7th verse. So, an example of how this can be done in Nama Sankirtan within the external and internal activities are highly complementary. When we do Nama Sankirtan, congregational chanting, and yet our external activity is to accompany or follow the leader of Sankirtan, but you can still meditate internally about Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that, oh, they were also taking this kind of Sankirtan, in Nadia. However, if one is not so spiritually adept, or if circumstances prohibit simultaneously thinking of Krishna and serving him, or if by thinking of Krishna one cannot properly serve him, then the answer is no. Very expertly and explaining. So well learned, my god brother, Shivaram Maharaj. So when it is no, if one is not spiritually adept, or if circumstances prohibit simultaneously thinking of Krishna and serving him, like in the critical moment, that we focus more on physical situation right in front of us. Huh? Right. And Hare Krishna. Sorry for the mishap. This is India. uh, so, mm, a devotee is meant to think of Krishna while undertaking the services in his sadhaka rupa. So we got the answers that yes, uh, but if no means uh, if one is not spiritually adept, or if some circumstances prohibit simultaneously thinking of Krishna and serving him, or if by thinking of Krishna one cannot properly serve him, then the answer is no. Examples are doing the bookkeeping of Krishna's finances, or driving a Sankirtan party to its destination. Uh, one is not able to meditate on Krishna.
Best not to.
Yeah, best not to. Prabhupada said about the driving. One time, Prabhupada was picked up from the, I think, the Los Angeles airport, and Karandara was driving. And there were other devotees also sitting beside Srila Prabhupada and in front, in the passenger. Prabhupada was sitting behind. Okay. Now, Karandar was chanting and driving simultaneously. So Prabhupada put up a very instructive point in discussion. Karanda, you are taking a very precious cargo. Please drive carefully, it should not be damaged. And Karandar understood. Intimacy makes us understand faster than simply, following the instructions. That gives liberty of Srila Prabhupada. But if you meditate, reading about his books, it will be very pleasant. Or thinking of him, he may appear in your dream, and that is also a valid situation as far as spiritual matters are concerned. We are known by the company we keep. The accompaniment is in the service of the person who is to be satisfied. If I can please my spiritual master, then your spiritual master will never become oblivious to you in performance of your devotional service. So in the sadhaka rupa, we have to understand thoroughly that what kind of thinking, of Krishna while undertaking service in his sadhaka rupa. All right. Mam anusmara yudhyacha is the example of always thinking and meditating on Krishna, Then this one particularly that we understood now, if we are able to serve but could not think properly, then actually answer is no. Here the example of bookkeeping Krishna's finances, or driving a Sankirtan party to its destination, they have to keep in mind, that now you have to follow the local laws first. At this time, it is better to concentrate on service. not on meditation. And one will not be bereft of Krishna's mercy by doing so. We see how Mother Yashoda put Krishna down to tend to the milk overflowing over the stove. She gave up Krishna's company for her service. And this is also for his service, Krishna's service. Of the two, the later is more important. Like that. This is in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 9, chapters 9 and 11, tells the story of Krishna's pastime of being bound to the mortar by his mother. The pastime begins with Mother Yashoda breastfeeding her son, but when the milk boils over on the stove, she puts him down, much to his consternation, and attends to overflowing milk. Acharyas explain that is not the fault on her part to neglect the Lord, but because the milk was meant for his pleasure, and so attending to it was the service to him, which is, in this case, it took a rightful priority that she should put Krishna down, rightful priority in his service. So, Prabhupada wanted that, yes, you are performing Krishna's service by driving the car, but do not pay attention to Krishna. It is not essential right now. That's correct. Don't let Krishna drive your car because you are meditating. Yeah, even I was in the beginning cultivating that kind of habit while driving the car. Oh my God, I can't pay attention either way, this way, that way. But I felt that my chanting is better only during driving. That was also a kind of experience. It became too much of a habit. Yeah, it becomes too much of a habit that unless and until I'm in the car, I cannot chant properly. This is how the mechanical situation affects us. If devotees are looking for one practical rule of thumb, then we should follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's example and do the activities of Sadhaka Rupa and Siddha Rupa sequentially. The other relevant question arises about the service in the Sadhak Deha. One is, how will different devotees follow different associates of Lord Chaitanya and still maintain unity in achieving Lord Chaitanya's mission? That's a good. So it is applying to ISKCON also. An answer is because Rupa Goswami perfectly represents the conduct and teaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's every associate. Gaudiya Vaishnavas follow him. This is confirmed by the well-known verse. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati. Who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya. Give me shelter under his lotus feet. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam, Rupa Goswami understand what is not only going in the mind of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but what is the and in the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is what is referred. And what is the in the heart? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants to deliver each and every one who are victim of Kali Yuga. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And Rupa Goswami is describing service, but it is all concentrated in this Mahamantra, and he elaborately describes the entire science of devotional service on simply chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So our thinking should also lead different activity than performing other service. Prabhupada said that is also chanting. If you wash pots and think of Krishna, this is also as good as chanting. But most of us fail right at this point of while chanting, our mind is distracted by so many things instead of thinking of Krishna, But chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra is thinking on the meaning of the Mahamantra that Srila Prabhupada gave. Oh, energy of the Lord. Please engage me in devotional service. Of Lord Krishna. For what? Who is all attractive and who is all blissful personality of Godhead. Purpose is also there. Everything is there. The role of Rupa Goswami as the sadhak, whom all other sadhakas follow, is so ingrained in Gaudiya tradition that Gaudiyas are named after him. In Srila Prabhupada's words, the present Krishna consciousness movement is also based on the authority of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. We are therefore generally known as Rupanugas, or the followers in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. So, Prabhupada Rupa Goswami is our Brajvasi whom we are supposed to follow. This is spoken. The nectar of devotion. Nectar of devotion. Right. Thus, Raganuga Bhaktas can be assured of being faithful to their sadhak Rupa, calling by the name Rupa Goswami or any Rupanuga Vaishnava. Telling symptoms of such Rupanuga role models are seen in their conduct as regulated devotees, enthusiastic preachers. As the founder Acharya of ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada sets the bar for the society members as to what following Rupa Goswami means. Naturally, all true followers of Srila Prabhupada can become the role model for their followers. Their examples will include rising early, attending the morning program, regularly studying Srila Prabhupada's books, worshipping the deity with the faith and keeping good association, and preaching through the book distribution, Harinam Sankirtan, Prasadam distribution, and the festivals. And of course, these activities must be done within the framework of ISKCON as His Divine Grace has ordained. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu summarizes the activities of Rupanuga Vaishnava and the benefit they derive in this way. Can the Ritviks become Rupanuga Bhakta? It's impossible. It's impossible. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu summarizes the activity of Rupanuga Vaishnava and the benefit they derive in this way. Sadhu Sangha Nama Kirtan Bhagavata Shravana Mathura Vasa Sri Murtira Shraddhaya Sevana Sakala Siddhanta Shrestha Pancha Anga Krishna Prema Janmaya Yehi Panchera Alpasanga. One should associate with the devotees, chant the holy name of the Lord, hear Srimad Bhagavatam, reside at Mathura, and worship the deity with faith and veneration. These 5 limbs of devotional service are the best of all. Even a slight performance of the 5 awakens love for Krishna. This is spoken in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, 22nd chapter, 128 and 129th verses.
Translated by Prabhupada in about chapter 13 of Nectar Devotion.
Since devotees can follow Srila Prabhupada on their own spiritual path in their sadhaka rupa, they may ask whether they can also follow their preceptors in the siddha rupa. Who are the preceptors of the spiritual master? Right. It means we can worship Rupa Goswami in his siddha rupa. Yes, because he is superior. If the devotees have been sufficiently purified at heart to realize the siddha deha of a Vaishnava, a realized Vaishnava, then they may follow them if they are so inclined. However, if devotees are still conditioned, then they can only be attracted to and hence internally follow Vaishnavas whose siddha deha is known from scriptures like Sri Radha, Subala, and Rupa Manjari. Why do we have to follow Premanand?
We're not self-realized. We don't know who it is.
But foolish people, they rush into subject matter where the angels also fear to trade. So we have to become spiritually matured. Otherwise, you follow in the sadhak rupa. But understanding Chaitanya Rasangi Nitya Siddha Karimane. Nitya Siddha Kariman means they must have achieved Siddha Deha. So following Rupa Goswami and his Siddha Deha is extremely important. It is where the real seniority counts. We follow senior devotee. It's always desired that we have to follow senior devotee. Senior devotees are in Vrindavan. Rupa Goswami is in Vrindavan. We try to look for senior devotees amongst the neophytes. You know? Oh, I don't find any senior devotee. You do not find. Means you have not read yet. You have not understood.
We're not self-realized. We can't recognize self-realization.
There is not a big deal in self-realization. Simply follow. If you know the science. If we know the science of Krishna consciousness, then everything in Vrindavan, how would you see this Vrindavan as Vrindavan of Rupa Goswami? Srila Prabhupada's Vrindavan. How do we see? So we have to follow them because they have already achieved their Siddha Deha. Like that.
Can we sing this bhajan, Rupa Manjari bhajan? Sri Rupa Manjari Pada.
So You know, when Sri Rupa Manjari Pada, when devotees were singing, are you qualified to sing this Sri Rupa Manjari Pada? Do you know who he is? But when Kaushalya, our old god sister, during that early time, I'm talking of 78, she sang this, Sri Rupa Manjari, and nobody objected. Because even if we see our predecessor God brothers who even not able to sustain, or they were limited in their devotional service, but whatever they did was in accordance to Raganuga attachment to Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah, they were all attached to Srila.
Because Srila Prabhupada had Siddha Deha, he introduced Vrindavan to them, even though out of his unfathomable, love for executing the order of his spiritual master for the welfare of all. We try to take some credible character or, to make us follow. Some, our God brothers were looking only a credible clientele. If what kind of car he has to make, him a devotee of this, then how much that devotee, if he becomes, he will be able to follow. It is a precarious situations, So the point is that in Vrindavan, we have to follow Srila Prabhupada in his Siddha Deha now, not in the form of Sadhaka Deha. Even the Prabhupada showed us how to chant, all these things. I would like to finish this. Since devotees can follow Srila Prabhupada on their own, spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada or their own spiritual master in their sadhaka rupa, they may ask whether they can also follow their preceptors in the siddha rupa. Yes. The spiritual master will never deny that you cannot, you cannot worship Rupa Goswami in your in his Siddha Deha. If the devotees have been sufficiently purified at heart to realize the Siddha Deha of self-realized Vaishnava, then they may follow them if they are so inclined. However, if the devotees are still conditioned, then they can only be attracted to and hence internally follow Vaishnava, whose Siddha Deha is known from the scriptures like Sri Radha, Subala, or Rupamanjari. When devotees become liberated in their own right, then as part of the great picture of their eternal service to Krishna in Vraja, they will also realize their eternal connection and their spiritual master in the Siddha Deha. The concept of service to Siddha Rupa, Sadhaka Rupa of a Brajvasi also sheds further light on what it means to live in Vraja. One must be dedicated to the service of a Rupanuga Vaishnava like Srila Prabhupada. If one is absorbed in such service, then wherever in the world one serves, that will be Vraja. Conversely, if one neglects such service, then one will not reap the real benefit of even physically living in Vrindavan. Prabhupada never left Vrindavan. But whenever he walked on the land of USA or throughout the world, he carried Vrindavan with him. This is how then he can expose the Vrindavan to the whole world. In conclusion, we may consider that unless one is faithful to the process of service in one's sadhak rupa and will struggle to reach the perfection of service in one's siddha rupa. However, if devotees are meticulous in service to their Rupanuga lineage, their inner meditation will be enhanced by divine grace. That has been said that this conclusion brings to the fore the relative merits of the Gosthyanandi and Bhajananandi devotees. The former both preaches and practices Krishna consciousness, and the later just practice in a sacred place. Bhajananandis select a sacred place, just like these Babajis are Bhajananandi. Prabhupada said that we established ISKCON not to become Babaji. We are Gosthyanandis, Preaching is very dear to Krishna, and therefore he easily bestows his mercy to Gosthyanandi. It is that mercy which will catapult practitioners into the realm of perfection. Due to misunderstanding Lord Chaitanya's teaching, the Bhajananandis think that by their excessive effort in bhajana, grace will descend. However, such a labored attempt at spontaneous practice is a form of mixed vidhi and raga. This guy is not pure, he is mixed up within the vidhi and raga. It is the characteristic of the neophyte attempt as spontaneity and does not result in perfection. Externally, they are all very busy, like dharma dvajis, but internally they are not developed. So they are not, perfect people. Srila Prabhupada's opinion was that the best way to draw Krishna's attention was by preaching on his behalf. And concluding remarks, when one becomes serious to follow the mission of spiritual master, his resolution is tantamount to seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As explained before, this means meeting the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the instruction of the spiritual master. That is technically called Vani Seva. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur states that in Bhagavad Gita commentary on the verse Vyavasayatmika Buddhi Ekehe Kurunandana, that one should serve the words of the spiritual master. The disciple must stick to whatever the spiritual master orders. Simply by following on that, one sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is also spoken in the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th chapter, 4th canto, 28th chapter, 55th verse. So, this end the chapter. I think this is much more straightforward. Any question, comments, Prabhus? I'm on my way to Delhi.
This one. Which one of us again?
Okay. Ritviks think no one can be pure other than Srila Prabhupada. They are exempting themselves also from becoming pure, which prevents them to follow Rupa. The idea of Ritvik is defective and stains the consciousness. Oh my God, you have hit the head of the nail. Thank you very much, Ujjwala Mataji.
Next one is.
Okay, Hare Krishna Mataji, Bilva Mangal Thakur. Why is it mentioned that Mathura was but not Vrindavan was? But Mathura was means exclusively it contains Vrindavan also. But you may start from Mathura in a different mood, then you can easily come because Vrindavan is very near to Mathura. Vidyala also, Gurudev, can you please elaborate on following His Divine Graces, Prabhupada in his Siddha Deha? Prabhupada has perfected. He was giving instructions and showing by his example how to chant, how to rise early, how to remain proactively engaged in Krishna's service by writing and translating the books. All these activities are there as his what we call God-given duty of devotional service. And it has been visible. But Srila Prabhupada's mood and the mission that he put forward was internally conceived, and he was always meditating internally. Who would understand that? So Prabhupada's Siddha Deha is that he fulfilled the mission his spiritual master desired from. So that makes his Siddha Deha. He showed us by his Sadhaka Rupa, but if you see deeply in his internal meditation, even Markine Bhagavad Dharma will also indicate his internal feeling towards Krishna. So these songs are very important, and we can study, understand the internal desire of Srila Prabhupada as an internal meditation. So thank you very much. I have to pack and go. We'll touch up this subject matter to start whenever, probably after a couple of days.
Yeah. So day after tomorrow, I should phone you and see if you're available.
No, I will not be, or I don't know.
Your flight is only 14 hours. So
Huh?
you'll be in Vancouver early in the morning.
I don't know. Because jet lag and anything that, interrupts the sadhana. So I will let you know everything, because everything has to be set up before I go. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Have
See
a
you in
safe trip, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Have a safe journey.
Have a
Hare
safe
Krishna,
trip, Gurudev.
Keep the
Krishna Guru
question.
Maharaj.
Yeah,
Hare Krishna.
keep the
Hare
questions
Krishna, Guru
in the
Maharaj.
next.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.